The sky was not a sanctuary. We look at private jets as symbols of freedom, the ultimate status symbol. Leather seats, champagne, a view from 30,000 feet. But for the women trapped on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, the Lolita Express, it was a prison with wings. There was no escape. You cannot run at 30,000 feet. You cannot call for help. You are sealed in a metal tube with a predator and his enablers. The transcript from 60 Minutes Australia reveals the horror. It wasn't just transportation. It was a continuation of the abuse. The victim speaks of a shiny, glossy world, a world of celebrities, a world of unimaginable wealth. But beneath the gloss, beneath the veneer of luxury, was a rot, a deep systemic evil. She says it clearly. The abuse did not stop because we were in the air. Think about that. Most people see travel as a pause, a moment to rest. But on Epstein's plane, there was no rest. She says 95% of the time, there was sex involved. Jeffrey Epstein couldn't take a 2-hour flight without acting on his impulses, without needing to ejaculate. That is the level of sickness we are dealing with. A compulsion that didn't pause for takeoff or landing. The plane was just another room, like the massage room, like the bedroom on the island, just another venue for exploitation. And the victims knew it. Imagine the dread, walking up those stairs, knowing you are leaving the ground, knowing you are being trafficked. She says she was a ball of dread and anxiety, horrified, sad, angry, disgusted. She became a shell. How do you survive that? How do you endure a flight to nowhere? She survived by numbing herself. Xanax, an anti-anxiety pill. Not to relax, but to erase, to stop feeling, to become numb to the anger and the sadness. It was a survival mechanism, a way to disappear while still being there. But she wasn't alone on that plane. And this is the part that demands a deeper analysis. This wasn't a one-man operation. It wasn't just Epstein in the cockpit flying the plane. It took a village to maintain this nightmare. The victim lists them: doctors, psychiatrists, gynecologists, dentists, hairstylists, drivers, chauffeurs, butlers, housemaids. And on the plane, pilots, flight attendants, mechanics. They were all there. They saw the girls. They saw the fear. They saw the youth. And they did nothing. They turned a blind eye. But as she says, they weren't blind. It was blatant. It was right in front of them. They chose not to see. Because the money was too good. Because the power was too intimidating. Money should not be able to buy you the power to get away with hurting people. That is the core message. But for decades, it did. It bought silence. It bought complicity. The justice system failed them. The people supposed to protect them failed them. The plane itself is a metaphor for this failure. It moved between jurisdictions, between laws, above the law, literally and figuratively. It flew from New York to Palm Beach, to New Mexico, to the Virgin Islands, to Paris. A mobile crime scene, crossing borders, carrying cargo that was human, cargo that was weeping, cargo that was medicated to numb the pain. The Lolita Express wasn't just a nickname, it was a brand. A dark brand known among the elite. We've heard the names of the passengers, presidents, princes, scientists, actors. They sat in those same seats. Did they look away too? Did they see the shell of a girl sitting across from them? Did they wonder why she looked so numb? Or did they just drink the champagne? The cognitive dissonance is staggering. To be in the presence of such suffering, and to focus on your own comfort. That is the true luxury of the elite, the luxury of ignorance, the privilege of not noticing. But the victims noticed. They remembered every flight, every touch, every pill they had to take. This victim is fighting back now. She created Victims Refuse Silence, a platform, a lifeline, because she remembers what she needed. She needed someone to talk to. She needed a safe house. She needed a way out. She is trying to build the safety net that didn't exist for her. She is vetting safe houses herself. She is finding lawyers. She is finding police officers who actually care. She feels a responsibility, as a mother, as a wife, as a daughter, to stop this industry. And it is an industry. She throws out a number, $100 billion a year. That is the profit of human trafficking. Modern-day slavery, It is more profitable than almost anything else, and it is happening right under our noses, on private planes, in mansions, in the places we look up to. We look at the shiny, glossy world, the magazine covers, the red carpets, and we envy them. But beneath it, it's nothing like that. It is a machine that chews up children and spits out profit. The Lolita Express is grounded now. Epstein is dead. But the enablers, the pilots, the people who filled the gas tank, the people who filed the flight plans, most of them are still out there, living their lives, carrying the secrets of what happened at 30,000 feet. We must not let the story die with the man. We must look at the system that allowed a plane full of victims to fly freely for years, the system that prioritized the privacy of the rich over the safety of the poor. The sky is big, but there is nowhere to hide from the truth, not anymore. The black box is open, and we are finally listening to the recording. It is a recording of screams, of silence, and now of a demand for justice. We have to answer that demand. We have to ensure that money never buys that kind of power again, that no child is ever stuck in a tube in the sky, waiting for the next horror to begin. This was the Lolita Express, a vehicle of trauma, and we must never forget the passengers who didn't have a choice.